Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is the part 2 for recent finds. I did a video yesterday kind of showing pop rock and stuff I've gotten in over the past 3 or 4 weeks. And so this is going to be the R&B, jazz stuff that I've gotten in over the past 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, let's just kind of jump right into it. We'll start off here with, actually I guess what will be technically be VCLT from my mom. She likes to go to little shops and, shop around, blah, blah, blah. And it seems like lately, over the past year or so, she's been finding a ton of these, Walmart and Target exclusives that are in these places that are, brand new sealed copies of things that are $4 or $5. And they're so cheap, she just grabs them when she sees them. And so this time she came across Stevie Wonder's number ones. 2 LP set, like I said, it's a Target exclusive. It was sealed, brand new copy, which was nice. And it has most of the traditional stuff that you would expect from Stevie, Superstitious, Sir Duke, I Wish, all that good stuff. But it's kind of cool because it also has some of his 80s stuff on here too, like Part-Time Lovers, Skeletons, things like that. Which is kind of nice because I, for one, am a person who loves 80s Stevie Wonder. I think he did some awesome stuff during the 80s with, Do I Do, Love, Light, and Flight, Part-Time Lover, Skeletons, like on and on and on. So it's nice to see some of that stuff being incorporated on some of the greatest hits and number one albums and that type of thing. So very, very cool piece from Mom, so I really appreciate that. The couple here that I found at the record show about a week and a half ago, and this was just a really, really great one, which is Bobby Caldwell. Been wanting this album for a long time, quite some time, and we've actually gotten 2 or 3 copies in the shop over the past year or two. But it's just one of those things where, a basic nice US pressing of it, it's just like a $35, sometimes $40 album, and I just wasn't quite willing to pay that much for it. But luckily, the other day at the record show, I stumbled across this original Japanese pressing, and it was sealed, and I got it for $20, which was just, fantastic. So I'm so happy to finally get this in my collection, much less a Japanese pressing. And, Bobby was kind of just a very musical person. You listen to this and you'll get R&B feel, you'll get a jazz feel, you'll get a smooth jazz feel. You'll just kind of get a little bit of everything. You'll get a little bit of a soft rock feel here and there. Just very musical. And I think the big hit off of this is What You Won't Do for Love, was kind of the big hit off of here. And even if you don't necessarily know that song by me just saying the title, I'm sure you've probably heard it where it's ran across your ears at some point in time. Even the band, I think it was Go West, I think they did a cover of it in the 80s and had a video and everything, and I think it was kind of a hit for them in the 80s. But I remember I discovered the song through Go West and then later discovered Bobby. So really cool pickup, and one I'm definitely glad to have in the collection. Anyone who's into jazz, you automatically know this legend here, which is Grant Green, and this is Born to Be Blue. Just one of the absolute ultimate jazz guitarists. If you're not quite into jazz or just starting to get your feet wet, because I think some people, maybe they tend to like saxophone jazz a little better from a traditional standpoint. Maybe some like trumpet better, some may like piano better. If you're one that is all about the guitar, then this is definitely one of the first guys you want to start with is Mr. Grant Green. Just an absolute legend, another beautiful tone poet pressing, and fantastic traditional jazz album there. Moving right along to Tina Brooks. I picked this one up about 3 weeks ago as well, and just another fantastic album. Again, just going back to some of that amazing traditional jazz that Blue Note did, specifically Tina Brooks here. The one thing is always kind of interesting, though, as I say, it's no wonder that so many of these Blue Note albums are so fantastic. So if you really start looking at who's appearing on each album, there really is a list of about maybe 35 or 40 names, where if you go through probably, and I haven't actually done this, but I would say it's probably safe to say 50-60% of the Blue Note catalog, you'll find at least one of those names on every single album, because these guys just jam together. You just had some of the greatest jazz artists of all time just constantly bouncing back and forth on each other's albums. So you have an amazing album like this by Tina Brooks, but then go look up any of the Kenny Drew albums, and it's like, again, amazing stuff. So just more and more great jazz from Blue Note there. And one other one here is Lee Konitz here. Another really good album. Now this one gets a little borderline for me because I actually debated about picking it up, and I decided, let me kind of really go in and listen to some stuff on here again to make sure it's like really something that I like and would listen to and want to listen to again. Because the one type of jazz that I personally don't like as much, I love traditional jazz, I love smooth jazz, I love free jazz. The only thing that I don't quite like is that that like Louisiana kind of jazz, like that Louisiana riverboat kind of jazz. For something about that, it doesn't register with me. So I've never quite liked that. And so this album, I mean, you can definitely feel some of that flavor here because it is a very accessible, lighter kind of jazz. But at the same time, I mean, I think I forgot who plays bass on this, but I mean, that by itself is one of the things that really kind of holds it in a very nice place for me, is the bass playing in the background on this. And then of course, again, you're talking about, Chet Baker and so forth. So, I mean, it's just like, there's still the genius is there. It's just kind of playing right around the outskirts of that type of jazz. So I wanted to really make sure it was one that I liked before bringing it into the collection. But so great stuff there. Next one here, my boy, Bobby Womack. Just again, in my mind, my personal taste, one of the absolute legendary R&B artists. Just one of those guys that had that unique vocal delivery, powerful, soulful, with a grit behind it that just kind of always let you know, oh yeah, that's Bobby Womack, and just added such power to the soul that he delivered. And he put out records for a long time. I mean, I think his first albums were back in the 60s, and I think that is it The Greatest Man in the Universe or something like that? I think that came out in the 2000s, I believe. So, I mean, yeah, he's been putting out records for a long time. I think he's passed away now, but yeah, just an absolute legend, and love his stuff. And this is another one of his great albums from the mid 70s, 1975. And this is I Don't Know What the World Is Coming To. So I'm kind of on a mission to do a little bit of a completion of his discography. So always looking for nice condition Bobby Womack, and stumbled across another one at the record show the other day and got this for only $5, which is really nice. And this is The Poet from 1981. I think 81, right? Yeah, 1981. Probably one of his more well-known albums, even though it by far is not my favorite in his catalog. I mean, it's good. It's just out of all of his stuff, it's not at the top of my favorite albums by him. This, of course, has the song If You Think You're Lonely Now, which was kind of a big hit for him off of this. And I believe it was it Jodeci, or was it? No, I think it was Casey and JoJo. I think it was after Jodeci did a cover of that song in the 90s or something like that. And again, kind of brought it to the forefront. It was a little bit of a hit for them. But yeah, you can never go wrong with a legend. I mean, I absolutely love Bobby Womack. And then the last piece I'll show here, one I haven't processed yet, so I haven't cleaned it and put it in sleeves and all that good stuff yet. But this is Maze, featuring Frankie Beverly, and this is the album Joy and Pain. For those maybe that don't know Maze, featuring Frankie Beverly, just another one of those groups from did they go back into the 60s, or were they mainly in the 70s? But another one of those groups that was just kind of, number one, legendary. Very, very kind of Earth, Wind, and Fire like. It's kind of hard to put them in a box where sometimes stuff was kind of funky, sometimes stuff was kind of R&B, sometimes stuff maybe had some pop elements. They just made music and made it in the way that they felt. But I think for the most part, it's that R&B with some funk kind of ingrained in it that they're most well known for as far as their sound. And this album, title track, which is Joy and Pain, that was the song that Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, had the song Joy and Pain back in the 90s, the big hip hop song. That's where they sampled it from. Even the chorus was sampled from that song and everything. So just kind of another one of those, guys that paved the way for stuff that became big later on again. So anyway, there you go, VC. Those are the recent finds on the R&B and jazz side. So as always, let me know what you think. Any of those artists that you particularly dig, always love to hear it. And we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys.